Welcome, race fans, to short track race number 3 of the season on the 3/4 mile track at Richmond. The capital of the Commonwealth of Virginia has hosted 105 races, and over the years, this track has evolved into quite possibly the world's perfect racetrack. But the dust has yet to settle on last week's finish in Talladega. In a wild race, Brad Keselowski pulled off the stunner for his first Cup win, and former champion Kurt Busch has taken over the points lead. Now, 4-time champion Jeff Gordon is just 5 points out of the lead, but this is yet another one of teammate Jimmy Johnson's personal playgrounds, as he has won 3 of the last 4 here. And tonight should be another fender-banging short track shootout, so get on your feet and get fired up. It's race day at Richmond. And what a crowd we have with us here at the Richmond International Raceway tonight. In fact, I think they can hear us down in Talladega still from last week. Welcome everybody to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. I'm John Roberts, alongside of Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer, and driver of the number 28 Nationwide Series car, Kenna Wallace, who was out there beating and banging on this track last night. And guys, it is very safe to say that this track is a fan and a driver favorite.
It is, Johnny, without a question. If you're building a racetrack, the ultimate racetrack is right here, Richmond. It's the greatest short track that was ever built. 2 wide racing, it will be exciting, no question about it. You cannot predict who the winner is of this racetrack, Kenny. It's an awesome place.
Spence, I've been getting out of my seat here lately. I got to tell you all this. We are back at the scene of the crime, and people have been asking me, what crime are you talking about? Race fans, this very race last year, this driver tried taking out Dale Earnhardt Jr.
He did.
I think they remember.
And JR and Spencer, I say, who was this driver that tried this? It was Kyle Busch. Guys.
It's Richmond, baby.
It's Richmond, baby. Spencer said it's Richmond, baby. Will Kyle Busch or will Junior, will they go at it again? I don't know, but these fans want to find out. Woo!
And just to add a little bit more fuel to the fire of this story tonight, drivers that do well here in the spring race tend to be the ones that contend for the championship when we come back here for the second race of the season. As a matter of fact, 80% of the drivers who are chase eligible in this race are eligible when it comes time. 80% are eligible when it comes time for the chase cutoff.
Incredible.
For more of what's going on, let's now go down for our Shell Garage Report to Wendy Venturini. Wendy, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Johnny. Do you want the good news or the bad news first, Johnny?
Oh, please give us the good news first. We need good news.
Well, the good news is it's rained here in Richmond, and there's no rain right now. It's dry. Track is dry. We haven't lost it yet, but let's take a look at the radar. We do have another storm coming. It is about 22 miles away from Richmond International Raceway. Right about here is where the speedway is. Now, time for the bad news. If we look at the nationwide radar, it gets pretty ugly. Typical springtime weather. This big green blob of rain is headed towards Richmond. We want to get this race in today, because if we don't, Sunday, Monday, 70-80% chance of rain. Typical spring showers, the rain building up and then dissipating. And this is why we don't allow Jimmy Spencer to do the weather. Hopefully we can get this race in today, because tomorrow's not so good. So let's hope that the rain stays away. That little cloud that's coming here in about 20 miles will dry again. Hopefully we'll get at least halfway here at Richmond. Now let's head over to my dear friend, Hermie Sadler.
Well, thank you, Wendy. I'm on the racetrack standing in turn 3, the scene of the crime, the place where the spin heard around the world happened last year in this race between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kyle Busch. They made some contact going for the lead late in last year's race. But having contact here in turn 3 is not that big of a surprise. Let me tell you why. Look back at this straightaway coming off turn 2. Not a lot of room for these cars to get out and make a good entry into turn 3. The next thing, only 2 degrees of banking on the back straightaway. Then you come into 14 degrees of banking in turn 3, a very steep transition. So not surprising to see guys racing side by side and making contact. And do not forget, this point of the racetrack is the biggest braking point of the racetrack. Guys are hard on the brake. Sometimes you can lose the front end of your car. So don't be surprised if we see more contact coming off turn 2 and entering turn 3 tonight. But the guy that wins has got to stay up front and not have a spin in the final stages of this race, JR.
Hermie, thanks a lot. Let's take a look at Sprint Cup points because they are getting more and more important as we get closer and closer to the second race at Richmond. And as we mentioned before, it's a good thing to come out of here with a good points position.
And you know, Johnny, this guy that's leading, Kurt Busch, Kenny, last year, he was 20th at this time. He's leading now.
And Jimmy Spencer, 3 weeks ago, Jeff Gordon had a 160-point lead. Totally evaporated. Jeff Gordon falling.
Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, they were the ones that were gunning for it at this time last year, and Clint Boyer won this race last season.
And that's the shocker, I think. You know, Clint Boyer, a whole new race team under Childress. He's one of the guys that's looking really strong, Johnny.
The last 2 guys in the chase as of right now, David Rudiman from Michael Waltrip Racing. Michael is going to come by and talk to us a little later on. Matt Kenseth is in, but after that, Jimmy, some great race car drivers.
And you know, Kenny, look at this. Ryan Newman, Casey Kane, Dale Earnhardt Jr. outside. And Johnny said 80% of the guys that leave here will make the chase. That means that these guys, Juan Pablo, Brian Vickers, Mark Martin, less than 20% chance of getting in there, Kenny.
And don't you know Kevin Harvick sitting back there in 20th with a new crew chief change? Kevin Harvick is praying that that's going to work because he's never been this far back ever.
Now, there is still time, but once again, it's a good idea to come out of this race in a good points position. It's also a good idea last year that Kyle Busch had a little extra security around him after leaving this race. Let's take a look at this spin heard round the world as we're in the closing laps on this one. Clint Boyer was simply lurking in the background. Dale Earnhardt and Kyle Busch get together. The smoke flies.
Well, it's simply that Kyle Busch just has to over-brake his car. He starts to move up the racetrack. You know, he's trying to catch it, Kenny, but you know what? That's Richmond. That's the 3rd turn. I think that's the hardest braking part that we go to any oval track is right there, turn 3, and Hermie alluded to it earlier.
Yeah, and you get your left front below that yellow line, it shoots you up. But I got to tell you, race fans, when you try to spin the most famous athlete out, maybe besides Tiger Woods, you're cruising for a bruising.
Now, you said you're saying he deliberately tried to spin.
No.
Okay.
What I'm saying is when Kurt Busch accidentally spun Dale Jr. out, I mean, Dale Jr. is the most famous athlete in the world besides Tiger Woods. Woo! And you know what? Kyle needed security when he left.
All right, now here is the reason we want you to tune into Fox tonight, because it's door-to-door, bumper-to-bumper racing all night long, and there is still time for you to come out here and join us at the Richmond International Raceway. We got to take our first break here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, but when we come back, Dale Earnhardt Jr. will join us live on the program, as well as 4-time champion Jeff Gordon. Don't go away.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. Visit homedepot.com/spring. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Brought to you in part by Advance Auto Parts. Keep the wheels turning. And by the new Kentucky Grilled Chicken. Taste the unfried side of KFC.
Join fellow fans online during the race. Fire off your questions, comments, or talk some smack. SpeedTV.com editors and NASCAR insiders will join you to fill you in on what's really going on. Go to SpeedTV.com now and just look for the chat link. Welcome back, everybody, to the Richmond International Raceway, what they call racing perfection. And over his 4 championships, Jeff Gordon has been pretty much perfect on almost every one of these racetracks. He's got 2 victories here, and as Wendy Vetturini joins us and tells us a win here would make Jeff Gordon a 2-time winner this season as well. Wendy?
And Jeff Gordon definitely could use another victory this season. John Roberts just mentioning another victory could really catapult you again in the points. We look at the points after Talladega last week, dropped to 2nd. But, man, you guys are definitely on the right path at this point.
Well, you know, it took us several weeks to build up to that win in Texas through just a lot of great teamwork, execution, communication, all the things that it takes, good race cars, you know, to get you to victory lane. We've had a couple of rough weeks, you know, Phoenix particularly, you know, we just didn't execute. We're just going to get back to our game plan, what we know we do best and how to do it. We've got a great starting position, a great race car tonight with the Stupont Chevrolet, and I'm excited about the evening. It started off rough yesterday in practice, but I heard a lot of guys say that after they were interviewed qualifying. And yet all of them ended with, but I feel good about tonight, and we made some gains, and that's where we ended up, and certainly that front row starting position is going to help a lot.
And you mentioned Phoenix, Talladega, the disappointment, but really, are you have to be a little bit more pleased with the way things are going, being 14th in points at this time last year. Things are really starting to turn around. How can you get your car to victory lane tonight?
Oh, we're extremely excited, but you know what happens is you forget about last year. You just start focusing on this year, and you put yourself in a position to start, expecting to run better. Everybody else expects you to run better. You're up in the front. You want to stay there. And we're very capable of it. But you know what? This really is a big turnaround for us, just like with Kurt Busch. And you know, there's guys that like Jimmy and a few other guys like Carl that have been really solid, you know, and you know, haven't had to rebound. We're still in that rebound phase, and we're showing our strengths. And I think we've still not reached our full potential because it's still a work in progress. There's some tracks that we haven't really dialed in the setup on, like Phoenix. But we learned from that race there, and I feel like we've applied some of that here, and it's paying off.
Now we're aware of your back problems and issues that you've been feeling and experiencing. What is the latest update from you on that situation, and does this rain play any part in how you're feeling with that?
That's a good question. It always hurts, so it doesn't seem like rain or shine. You know, there's no real improvement in the pain that I'm feeling inside the race car, and this is definitely going to be a tough race tonight. You know, it's a fast track, short track, and heavy on the brakes. So, you know, we did an MRI this week. We found some things, and when I know more about what we're going to do going forward, I don't think it's anything serious, and you know, but it is what we think is contributing to the pain. So hopefully there's something that we can do to help that out. And when I know more, I'll certainly let everybody know. And right now we just stretch and do everything I can training-wise to try to alleviate as much as I can and try to make myself as solid as I can in the car.
Now this month of May, we head back to Charlotte, the home stretch for everyone. It's a great opportunity for you and your foundation to do some work, and you have some exciting things planned for that as well.
Yeah, it's our annual go-kart event. Always look forward to that. That's not going to help my back any, but we're going to raise a lot of money for a great cause for all the kids that we love to help and that are in need. And so the Jeff Gordon Foundation, you know, is really looking forward to these upcoming weeks in Charlotte, and can't wait to get out there and have a little fun and raise money. And we're trying to find more ways to get the fans involved, so maybe we can get them out there to race with us here in the future as well.
All right, good luck to Jeff Gordon, taking the pain for charity right there. 15 short track wins for Jeff Gordon. That's the most of any active driver. Let's head over to Hermie Sadler.
Well, thank you, Whitney. Standing by with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dale, first of all, just to remind you, I know you've forgotten about it, but last year you were contending for the win at the end and had some contact on the racetrack. Any leftover thoughts of that race as you head into the one-year anniversary of that?
I appreciate you reminding me. Well, you know, this is it's a racetrack where there's plenty of room to race side by side, and hopefully tonight we'll be able to, you know, get to the end of the race without any problems. And Kyle's probably going to be one of the guys you got to race for the win, so we'll have to get up there and race him if we can. And I think we got a pretty good car. We worked on it all weekend. We had a little trouble in practice, but we got through that and made the car pretty good, and I think we got what it takes.
Before we talk more about tonight, I want to go back one question about that finish at Talladega last week. You were right in the middle of all that. First of all, what was going through your mind as you were crossing the start-finish line? And secondly, as you've had a week to kind of see how everything has unfolded, what the fans had to say in NASCAR, and how do you look at things 1 week after the fact?
Well, I was just upset that, you know, initially when the crash was happening, I was upset that Brad hadn't been deterred or slowed down to where I could pass him and get the win. But, you know, it was a terrible situation. We'd seen it in the past, but it had been so many years ago. And that's just that area, obviously, with the two wrecks that have happened there with Bobby's in 1987 and the one this past weekend, that area is conducive to making that type of stuff happen. And going through the travel, through the turn or whatever, guys can get together and cars are going to get airborne. So we need to look at what we can do, what needs to be done or can be done to keep that from happening again. That's just too dangerous of a situation for the fans. And I'm sure, and I feel confident that NASCAR is doing that. I feel confident that if everybody will just let NASCAR understand and dissect the situation, they'll come up with an idea and a plan that'll fix it. And they've done it in the past, and the sport is learned a lot, and they've made a lot of changes over the last several years to make it safer, and they'll do the right thing here.
The last question, this is a good racetrack for you. I know everything that's going on, you just want to win, and it's a good place for you to do that. 3 wins here already, and you're carrying a little special decal on your car tonight, 88M, for some of you guys in the military. Tell us about that real quick.
Well, we've got Drive the Guard on the race car, and basically this program is taking people who are interested in getting a CDL license. The Guard will train you, and then once you graduate, you get your CDL, and then they'll guarantee you a job at a reputable trucking company. So I think it'll be a popular program, especially during the economic times we have right now. I think a lot of people will be interested in looking into it. So we're excited to have it here. The Guard comes up with a lot of great ways to get people involved, and this is just another step in that direction. So we got a great looking race car for the race tonight, and I'm excited. I love this racetrack, and we should be pretty good.
I want to personally thank Dale Jr. for vaulting me back to the top of the fantasy standings with his second place finish. I may pick him again tonight because I think he's going to victory lane, JR.
Hermie, thanks a lot. That's a great thing they're doing with the decal on that car, and it also fits in with this is a Russell Friedman 400 presented by Crown Royal, and Russell Friedman is an Iraqi war vet. He did 2 tours of duty over there, and that's why Crown Royal selected him as a representative of all the military men and women for this race tonight. So that's a pretty special thing. And I know, Kenny Wallace, we've all, as we get a little older, we get these back pains and joint pains, and it's hard when you're in a race car like Jeff Gordon is tonight with back pain.
I just want to say good job to the 4-time champ Jeff Gordon, because any other driver would hide something like this. But Jeff Gordon, a proven driver, steps up to the plate and says, look, I got a back pain, we're working on it, and making the media known about it. Nobody else would do that. Spence, they would hide it.
Well, the thing I got to say about Junior, Junior 3 wins here at Richmond. He should have had his 4th win last year. We saw what happened, but last year Junior was 3rd in the points. This year he's 15th. He needs to rally tonight, and I believe he will. You heard him say that him and Tony worked hard on that car. That's what they need. He'll have a good night tonight. It'll get him closer to that top 12 where he needs to be.
And because we're on the short track, anything can and will happen tonight at the Richmond International Raceway. We're going to take another break here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. When we come back, we got Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, just to name a few of the folks that are coming by to talk to us tonight.
That race was so good, we just can't seem to let it go.
Edwards goes up in the air. Brad Keselowski comes by. He'll score the win in the air. It's $4.99.
We've got to take a recap that'll make your head spin. Coming at you, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Has the lead, though. He's not been in the picture all afternoon. Suddenly he's in the lead, but under attack. Contact here in the triangle. Edwards goes up in the air. Brad Keselowski comes by. He'll score the win in the air. It's $4.99.
Huge congratulations are in order. This has to be one of the biggest upsets in Cup history as of late.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there's so many different things when you think and you look back at it. Part-time driver, a car not in the top 35, single car team owner. We started in the back because we blew an engine in practice. I'd never even been to Talladega in a Cup car. I mean, there's so many different scenarios that were up against us, and to overcome them all and to win, it just it makes it very special.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets into Brad Keselowski, turns him to the bottom of the racetrack. Wow, what a save by Brad Keselowski.
Talk us through the time you got into Dale Jr. What were your thoughts at that time?
I was a little upset, to be honest. I know Dale had a run on me. He's starting to make a move, and I just wanted to run him down a little bit and just kind of say, hey, you can push me if you want. And he kept going, and before I knew it, we had hooked, and luckily he let me go, and otherwise he could have sent me spinning, and I was able to recover down on the apron and get back in the draft, and everything was good. But at the time, I was a little angry, but looking back at it now, I guess it worked out.
Here they come. Look at the 99 and
Brad Keselowski.
Once again, there's that 2-car draft.
Now, 2 laps ago, Carl Edwards was 8th. You were running 9th. Where the heck did you guys come from? Because when you took that high line, you freight trained.
Yeah, well, I'd really saved my car to make sure it was in good shape for the end of the race. And it just happened to work out that the distance between Carl and the rest of the field was enough to where when I started pushing, we got a mega run. And when we caught those cars, we had such a run that they couldn't block us without wrecking themselves. And Dale and Ryan were not pushing each other as hard as Carl and I were, and we just had an extra lap of momentum.
All right, the exact moment of when the wreck, the big one, started to happen. Were you looking in your mirror? Were you looking forward? What was your thought process?
Well, I looked right in my mirror after I'd cleared Carl and knew that I wasn't going to hit the wall myself. And I was looking for anyone else that was coming, and I caught Carl's car, caught my attention. Obviously, it was in the air, it was doing a pirouette, and I could see it make contact with the catch fence, and I instantly felt terrible for Carl, because the last thing I wanted to see was for him to wreck. I did watch it happen in my mirror, and I saw the ending, as spectacular as it was, from one of the best seats as well.
For the first time in his NASCAR Sprint Cup career, and I'm sure not the last, Brad Keselowski is in victory lane here at Talladega.
All right, let's get to the good stuff. Victory lane, you had a wild celebration in victory lane. Throwing your trophy at your crew, what were you thinking?
Oh, hey, man, they deserve a trophy just as much as I do. I mean, when you replay the race and you look through all the scenarios that happened, it really shows why this is a team sport. When I look back at the accident I think there was on lap 8, and I actually got an oil cooler through the front end of my car. It did some pretty extensive damage to my car, which I couldn't see at the time. And the way that we were able to recover and get that fixed was huge for being there at the end. And, so it's a team sport, and they deserve it as much as anyone else.
Way to go, man. And you know what? You're in the All-Star race.
How about that, man? How about that?
Are you going to race?
I'm sure we're going to race. We haven't worked out the details of it yet, so we'll get it figured out, and I can't wait to do it.
Can you believe you're going to be racing for $1 million now?
I know, that's pretty awesome, too. I can't even believe I'm even going to be racing it, let alone for the money or for the glory.
All right, this is a part-time deal. What's going to happen here? I mean, do your races increase with James Finch and Phoenix Racing?
I don't know. We haven't really, we're living in the moment. We haven't figured out the rest. At this time, the next race is New Hampshire. And that's really all I know at this moment. We're just living in the moment and enjoying this win, and we'll worry about the future later.
And team owner James Finch really enjoyed that victory. Well, I'll tell you, he almost missed it, because race fans, he was back at the Talladega airfield at the finish of the race, watching the finish on a TV monitor. He had to jump back in his car and got a police escort to victory lane. Team owner James Finch was able to celebrate with his driver, Brad Keselowski. And what a victory celebration that was, Kenny Wallace. He was awfully excited on NASCAR victory lane. You guys got to enjoy that moment with a rookie winner in the Sprint Cup Series. What a fun night.
Race fans, on our Victory Lane show on Speed after the Talladega race, me, Spence, JR, we were watching everything. We could tell it was a genuine victory. I told him, I said, you look delirious. He says, Kenny, that's a good word. I am delirious. I don't even know what I'm doing. He's banging on the desk. But me and Spence picked out something that was really cool. All the big-time race car drivers, like, you know, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, when they win, they got their PR people. Here, come over here. Come over here. Brad had nobody. It was like it was at a late model stock race. And so finally, when victory lane's over, Brad's still standing there, and he looks around, and the Talladega PR people finally said, okay, Brad, victory lane's over. Come on out. And he's like, okay, I leave now. So, Spence, it was so genuine. Yeah. You know, it was such a great victory and a great victory lane on Speed.
Well, now that that's over, and I agree with you 100%, Kenny, I am sick and tired of these drivers complaining about Talladega. You know, yeah, it's fine when you win a race, but when you don't run good and you get in this accident, then you go off and say, this place needs to be bulldozed over. This place needs to be tore up. That's a bunch of crap, guys. That's what the fans pay $100, $150 tickets for, to see what Brad Keselowski said, the best show on earth. It was a very, very rare accident, what happened to Bobby Allison and then what happened to Carl Edwards. NASCAR will address it. But damn it, the track don't need change. It's the best racetrack we go to. It's the most exciting race. It's what keeps us in the fans' eyes. So you drivers better be quiet, because if you don't want to be quiet, there's Bobby Allison's wreck, as we see. Bobby Allison will tell you, I got 42 more Brad Keselowskis. If you don't want to run Daytona and Talladega, get the hell out of the seat. I'll get some drivers that will.
Wow. Hey, Spence.
That's the way it is, baby.
That's why you're Mr. Excitement.
Hey, Kenny, I was fortunate to win at Talladega and Daytona, and I was unfortunate to come out of there 42nd and 3rd. It's part of the sport. It's what it's all about. You were fortunate to push Dale Earnhardt from what, 20th to Dale to win his last race at Talladega. Hey, it's a victim of circumstances sometimes.
So anyway, now what we're talking about is the debate. One thing we want to talk about on Speed. People are asking us, emailing us, well, what should we do? What should we do? So here's what I think. This is my opinion. I think if you look at the new racetracks, go to Chicago, Kansas City, Kentucky, all these new racetracks, remember, Talladega was built in the 60s. The first thing we should do, if you listen to our interview with Dale Earnhardt Jr. early, Dale said that that area of the travel is very volatile. That's where you're turning left. I think, in my opinion, they need to take the first 10 to 15 row of seats out because, yes, that is a very volatile area. I'm not saying change the racetrack. All I'm saying is get the fans away from the fence. And then the next thing we got to do is we got to figure out, like Sterling Marlin said, he said, can a man spin a man out? What he means by that is if you spin out, why should the car even lift up 8 feet? NASCAR is going to take a look at it. They say the speed is 189 miles an hour. So if they're running 189, then you go into the draft, they're going to be about 196. So we'll see where it goes from here.
Slow them down. I agree. But don't change the racetrack.
No, not at all.
And if you drivers don't like it, get out. We'll get somebody else.
Well, Carl Edwards has always had a love-hate relationship with Talladega, and especially now after that last lap wreck last week on that big oval. Let's hear what Carl Edwards has to say after having a week to think about what transpired.
Well, I mean, number one, after that wreck, I'm glad that nobody was hurt, you know, worse than they were, and real excited about the time I got to spend with the folks at NASCAR, you know, talking about it. And how open-minded they were to my thoughts, and you know, I look forward to seeing what's going to be done, you know, to make it a little bit safer for especially the fans, but for everybody involved. So, you know, hopefully by the next time we get back there, there's something good that comes out of this.
And you know, guys, driver safety has been addressed so well over the past decade, and fan safety, fans have been relatively safe over the years at NASCAR events. It's just an inherently dangerous sport.
Well, one thing that I'm going to say is very crude, but, you know, race car drivers sign up to have bodily injury. I mean, we're not going to be race car drivers if we think everything is going to be perfect, but when those fans buy a ticket, they don't sign up for that. That's why I say, look, move them 10, 20 rows back in case something happens like this for the third time with the Bobby Allison accident, now this accident. So I think, Spence, we need to move the fans back so we keep the show the same.
And the thing is let's look back to when Dale Earnhardt Sr. lost his life. Look at the improvements that came out of that incident, and one of them being Michael McDowell at Texas. One of the most horrific accidents I've ever seen in my life. The guy gets out and walks away. I tip my hat to NASCAR. They'll fix the problem, guys. They surely hell don't intend anybody to get hurt. I have faith in NASCAR.
And let's make sure we protect the fans because they're the greatest fans in all of professional sports, the NASCAR fan. Matter of fact, they're crazy enough to stand out here with us in the rain. Hey, we got the Prilosec Shootout Barbecue Series going on right now. They're serving up some very good barbecue, and we're going to see what the fan favorite is coming up. As we sit here in Richmond, we're only a couple of weeks away from the All-Star event, and back in 1991, Robert Yates' horsepower dominated that race. With Larry McReynolds as crew chief and Davey Allison behind the wheel, at Lowe's Motor Speedway, this powerhouse team started on the pole and never lost the lead, posting the largest margin of victory in the history of the event.
Champions all coming to the line. And the 1991 Winston is under green.
We sat on the pole by actually quite a bit. And the biggest thing I worked on most of that day was trying to slow Davey down. Because my biggest fear, I knew Bill France Jr. wasn't a big fan of people stinking his shows up. And it's like, you know, we need to win this thing. I'm not sure we need to win this thing by half a lap.
Davey Allison dominated everything this weekend at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And he's put his name in the record book as one who has led from flag to flag, from the outset, right to the checkers. It's been all Davey Allison and car number 28.
It was one of those days where nothing went wrong. You know, what pit stops we had were flawless. The car was flawless. The engine was flawless. This whole weekend has been absolutely too good to be true.
Davey Allison is going to take it home. He's going to win.
That was my very first win with Robert Yates Racing and Davey Allison in the 28. And, of course, then we went on to win the Coca-Cola 600 with that same race car the next week.
Celebrating 25 years of All-Star memories. Don't miss the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race on Speed, Saturday, May 16th, 7 p.m. Eastern. NASCAR on Speed. Be there.
The All-Star Race at Lowe's Motor Speedway is the most spectacular All-Star event in all of professional sports, and it's for an unbelievably low price. Tickets start at just $25. Call 800-455-FANS or buy online at lowesmotorspeedway.com. And you know what? That race is all for the fans. And we told you earlier that NASCAR fans are the best anywhere. And Wendy Venturini, even though it's starting to rain, they are still out here in force. No one's going home until they see the show.
And there's still people sitting in the stands right now waiting for what's going to happen. Well, the rain has come in Richmond, much as we predicted at the start of the show. So much so that NASCAR has actually called all the cars to the garage areas after inspection. Instead of going out onto the grid, all the teams have brought their cars to the garage area, covered them up. The tarps have been brought over the garage stalls. Nobody is allowed in. The NASCAR officials are watching this area. It's almost like the end of a practice day on a Friday or Saturday. A little bit different scenario right now. We're going to wait for this rain to push over Richmond. Hopefully we'll have a little bit of window before later on tonight. We do have some more rain on its way. Now, let's talk about something that's happened on the racetrack this weekend, and it was surrounding around Dale Earnhardt Jr. on lap number 1 of practice earlier this weekend. Before he even made a full lap in practice, Juan Pablo Montoya and Dale Earnhardt Jr. had a little get-together. You see from that in-car angle of Dale Jr., the crew went to work, including crew chief Tony Uri Jr., worked on that car all afternoon, and they continued to work on it through yesterday evening, really working on the bonding of that car and getting it all fixed up on the right rear bumper. He is good to go for today's race. No updates on anyone else going to the rear of the field for today, so we should be set on that aspect. The only thing now that we're watching is the rain. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot. We got a close eye on that. We'll keep you up to date as NASCAR race day progresses. Last week, the NASCAR community lost a good friend and a great rider. Charlotte Observer NASCAR reporter David Poole passed away at the age of 50 from a heart attack. David was generous but grumpy, blunt but fair, opinionated, and outspoken. He helped us out here at Speed with several of our shows, and he was not afraid to say it when he thought we did something wrong. He was one of the most respected voices in the sport, and racing will miss David Poole. Coming up on Monday, it's This Week in NASCAR. Steve Burns, Michael Waldrop, and Chad Knaus will break down the race from Richmond on This Week in NASCAR. Plus, you don't want to miss the best scanner from Richmond and the weekly radioactive feature. We'll show you things you haven't seen or heard This Week in NASCAR Monday at 8 Eastern, only on Speed. And now we would like to introduce the driver of the number 55 Toyota from Michael Waldrop Racing, the guy whose name is on the company, Mikey Waldrop.
Hello,
How are
Johnny.
you, sir?
Good.
Takes a lot more than a little bit of rain to stop Mikey Waldrop from coming out here and joining us. And, Mikey, we just really have to sit back and say a big congratulations to you and your team members, because a couple years ago, you guys got off to a rough start. But as a marathon runner, you know this thing ain't a sprint. You guys were able to persevere, and right now you're looking at a team in championship contention, and the whole group risen up.
Yeah, and it's just so much fun, John. We've got a great group of people together at MWR. My Napa car has a different sponsor on it tonight. One of the products that Napa is selling, Adaptive One brake pads, is on our car. You know, that car never changes. They keep it the same every week. Putting a brake pad on the car, that tells you how special they think this product is. And MWR is really gaining on. I'm real proud of where we are. It makes coming to the racetrack a lot of fun, because I know at least 2 of the 3 of them are going to run good, and hopefully all 3 of them.
Now, Mikey, you got new brakes, so you need brakes here at Richmond, don't you?
Brakes are very important, and this technology in the Adaptive One pad's amazing. Spencer, you'll appreciate this. It's hybrid technology. One pad, stopping power. The other pad reduces noise and brake dust. So when you go to wash your car after using it for a week or 2, you don't have all that crap on your wheels.
Yeah,
so it's a great product.
It's a good deal.
I have a couple quick comments. First of all, I could have used those brake pads last night. My car had all rear brake. I wrecked, so I should have went to Napa. The other thing is this.
I love that.
That was funny, wasn't it?
That was awesome.
Are you going to give me any money for saying that?
I don't have any. I spent it all.
But that was perfect, because I gave you $10 2 nights ago.
You did.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I didn't know what to get you, so I thought I'd give you a $10 bill.
I think it was a perfect gift. We had a little get-together outside of my bus. All the Tracy, my PR chick, she got everybody together, and we had all the team members over.
There's
my
really money.
Fun. Kenny Wallace comes through
You
with
charged
$10.
him a fee?
No, this was his gift to me. Look at that man. Wearing his St. Louis hat.
It was 29th, right?
That's
29th
right.
birthday?
Yeah, again.
Okay, now the serious side, because everybody blames me and you on having too much fun. We should be more miserable, they say. But, Michael, yeah, I'm doing my hands. Okay, now listen, you have so many sponsors. okay? And you had David Rudiman, Marcus Ambrose, you know, all these sponsors. Because your team is so much better this year, I mean, your life has got to be a lot easier. You don't have to answer to anybody as much as you had to before.
Well, you know, I've raced these cars this is my 25th season, Kenny, and I always got up in the morning and thought I was going to get to race my car because I was a great race car driver and I could go out and beat those guys. Watching Rudiman haul the mail in this 00 car and seeing what Marcus stumbling over from Australia to get in his car and going out there and being right up front every week, it's been a little bit hard on me as a driver. As an owner, I'm really happy, but you know, I've lost a little bit of my confidence as a driver, but I know it's right around the next corner. At Talladega, we could have put that car up front. It didn't work out. Got all the way to 8 laps to go before we got messed up. But right now, I'm just more worried about just having my head inside that Napa car. Ty and Cal and Steve, all those guys are doing a great job running our team. But right now, I'm just not happy with the job I'm doing behind the wheel. That was pretty good, though.
Yeah, he did a great job saving that thing at Talladega. Michael, that's my point, I guess I want to get. You know, you won the Daytona 500 Napa car and Talladega, and you've also finished last from a wreck. I'm upset with the drivers saying that, you know, we need to change these racetracks. And you know, let's face it, McDowell crashed your car at Texas, and all because Dale Earnhardt, who owned your car, you know, when you won the race, and then if you look back to Michael McDowell's wreck, you lost that car, but we saved his life because of NASCAR's improvements.
Right.
I guess my question is, what do you think? I mean, let's leave it alone and let the drivers quit complaining.
Well, here's what I think. I think they need to build a bigger fence, make the fence taller, tougher, even do what Kenny said, maybe take a few rows of seats out down front, move them back a little bit. The action will still be just intense. That wreck right there didn't have anything to do with the yellow line, and it didn't have anything to do with Talladega. If Carl Edwards or any other driver tries to cut off a guy passing him coming to the checker, he's going to get crashed.
Yep.
Brad Keselowski did not go below the yellow line because that's where the end of the track was. If the yellow line wasn't there, the end of the track would have been the infield. That's where they would have crashed at. So all the stuff about the racing and the yellow line and restrictor plates, I don't go along with it. I think we all sign up to race our cars, and that was a great race. And Carl did what any one of us would have did. He was trying to protect that lead. But you can't cut off the leader. No, you can't cut off a guy trying to win the race.
Thanks for saying that. Now, you lived through some tough times with this Toyota deal. And it seems not just yourself, but the whole Toyota organization is really
Well, you know,
weak.
Jimmy, when I first started this deal, I loved Toyota's philosophy, how they were going to support their teams. They weren't going to take cash and give it out everywhere. They're just going to build cars and build parts and pieces internally and share them with the teams. I love that philosophy. We didn't do so well. Joe Gibbs comes along. He does really well. They're just supporting his team. I'm thinking, well, is that the right track to be on? But now in our third season, they're beginning to get their arms around it. They're supporting our team in the way that we envision them supporting it from the start. I believe long-term, 5-10 years from now, the way Toyota is supporting our team will allow us to be one of the top teams in NASCAR racing. Doesn't have a whole lot to do with Michael Waltrip. It doesn't have a whole lot to do with where we've come from and gotten to. It has a whole lot to do with Toyota and how they're supporting our organization going forward. We have got smart people at MWR that are able to take all that information and just shuffle it right down to the tires on the car. And that's what makes me proudest, is the way our people are working together.
Mikey, you should be proud. Congratulations, man. Keep up the good
luck,
work.
Michael.
Thanks for coming out and seeing us today.
It's two different paths. One of them stops, and the other one gets rid of all the dust. It's amazing.
I need the one
It's
that
amazing.
stops.
All right, we got to take a break in this TV show, and when we come back, we're going to hope this rain pushes off as we say goodbye to Mikey Waltrip. We got our umbrellas out, but we're hoping that doesn't last very long. Back in a moment.
Hey, it's Mark Roberts from the band OAR, and do not miss us right here on Speed's Countdown to All-Star.
Tune into Speed for an exclusive performance from OAR during Speed's Countdown to the All-Star Show, May 13th from Lowe's Motor Speedway. We've got you covered as we count down to the greatest All-Star event in sports. Countdown to All-Star from Lowe's, Wednesday, May 13th, only on Speed. This evening here in the capital of the Commonwealth of Virginia, we are counting down to a short track shootout at the Richmond International Raceway. As of right now, Kurt Busch is our points leader, but he's got a lot of great race car drivers breathing down his neck. Brian Vickers is on the pole. He always qualifies very well, and he is looking through a breakthrough victory at this racetrack. It's the third short track race of the season. Tempers always flare, and sheet metal gets bent. That's one thing you can guarantee when you go short track racing on NASCAR's Top Series. But everybody is still talking about that wild Talladega finish. Still many questions exist, but the good thing is that all our race car drivers are safe and here with us tonight at Richmond. We are all looking towards the skies as it is raining right now at the racetrack, but this is what you call isolated, scattered showers. We hope they move off and go away, leave us alone so we can race here on quite possibly the most perfect racetrack, the Richmond International Raceway. So now let's go down to Wendy Venturini, who we hope is staying dry in the garage area for part 2 of The Real Deal.
Thanks, Johnny. Yes, I'm in Victory Lane right now. Not much action today, but a week ago, Victory Lane was hopping, and that's because of Brad Keselowski's win in Talladega. Now, it was a surprise and shock to all of us as we caught up with Brad Keselowski. He told us a funny story, how his 9th grade geometry teacher and him got into a little spat. It's the only class he's ever failed in his life. Well, after he got to Victory Lane last week, that 9th grade geometry teacher wrote him a note. It had 2 sentences. You were right. You don't need 9th grade geometry to be successful. But I'll tell you what Brad Keselowski was. He was logical. And here's a look at Real Deal number 2, where I sat down with Brad, and you'll get to see a little bit into his thought process on those final moments of the win. Here's Real Deal number 2.
Carl knew that he had played a game of chicken and lost. It doesn't mean that he did the wrong thing. He just played a game of chicken, and I wasn't willing to give in. And I think he respected that just as much as anyone else.
Edwards will not make it to the flag.
I knew that if I got to the yellow line that he was defenseless. The only option he had was to come down, and the only scenario that was going to work was either I was going to lift or he was going to wreck. And he put me in that position to make that choice. And I felt like if I would have backed down right there, that I would have set a message for the rest of my career that I could be pushed around. And I didn't feel like that was the right thing to do. And so whether that was Carl or Tony Stewart or any other driver, I felt like I had to make that decision right there for the rest of my career, whether I was going to let somebody push me around. And I said no.
We had a lot of fun tonight. Yeah, it was that fun. This is NASCAR racing, and this is cool.
Well, if you're not confident, I don't see how you can be successful. I really don't. If you don't feel like you can win at any moment, if you don't feel like you deserve to be here, I don't feel like you can win. There seems to be a general attitude that if you're not a veteran, that you're supposed to allow yourself to be pushed around. And I don't buy into that. I don't buy into the fact that since I've never won a race that I should have lifted for Carl. I don't believe that. I believe that we all have an equal opportunity, and I had an opportunity to win that race. And I believe that Carl was testing me to see if I would give in to him, being who he is and what he's done. And I said no. Now, as to whether that's confidence or arrogance, I mean, I'm not the one to judge that, but I had a car that was capable of winning, and to not bring it home with a win would have been, unjust to my team and to those that had worked on my car.
And it truly was a defining moment for Brad Keselowski. In less than a split second, he made a decision that changed his career and the outcome of last week's race. Now, of course, Brad Keselowski, full-time in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, driving for Dale Earnhardt Jr., could be a short amount of time before we eventually see Brad Keselowski here in the Sprint Cup Series full-time. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot. And I'd have to say, by listening to that young man, that is confidence, not cockiness or arrogance, simply confidence. And you guys have been around this sport a long time. You know exactly what it means for a defining moment. Only 43 guys get to race on each Sunday. And Kenny Wallace, if you can come out the winner, that defines you as a race car driver.
I mean, 99% of the great race car drivers, Jimmy Spencer, very cocky early in his career. Rusty Wallace, very cocky. Dale Earnhardt told me to quit telling me what I'm going to do. Dale Earnhardt put me in my place because I was cocky, so I think that's what you got to have early in your career. Call it whatever you want to.
I think it's good. I mean, I think the thing is that this is what you have to do as a race car driver. If you want to make it, this is not easy, fans. This is the toughest form of motorsports in the world. The kid did what he was supposed to do. I congratulate him for it.
And that's about almost anybody you ask about that finish at Talladega will tell you that Brad Keselowski did the right thing. We got a little bit of rain right here at Richmond, but the sun is starting to pop through. And also, fans, M&M's brand chocolate candies is on a mission this season to find some of NASCAR's most colorful fans, no matter who your favorite driver is. We have M&M's fan advocate, Left Turn Lindsay, with us today to help find the most colorful and dedicated race fans in our race day crowd. Stay tuned as we pick the most colorful. We're back at Richmond, and Lindsay, Left Turn Lindsay, has found the most colorful fans in our race day crowd today, and there is a very colorful fan. And you know what, Kenny Wiles, we got to hand it to these fans, because not only are they colorful, but they're also colorful in the driving rain right now.
I'm going to tell you what, any fan that comes to the racetrack looking as good as they do, put that much effort into it, they deserve a win.
I'm wondering where the free M&Ms are.
Spence, you and your food. You know what?
You've always got to ask. M&M's always takes care of you, though, Jimmy.
When I'm hungry, I stand by Spence, because I know he always has some orange M&Ms or yellow M&Ms.
And when Spencer's hungry, you stand away from him.
Yeah.
I share.
All right, so Spencer shares, and congratulations to our most colorful fans of the race. And fans, even though you're not with us today, you can still be M&M's most colorful fan by logging on to NASCAR.com, most colorful fan, for the chance to win some great prizes. On the site, you can vote for your favorite fan photos, upload your own colorful pictures, and possibly win a trip to the final race of the season at Homestead, where M&M's will crown the most colorful fan of the 2009 NASCAR season. And clearly, the most colorful member of our race day crew here. Congratulations, young man. And also Left Turn Lindsay for hanging out with us today in the rain, but the rain is going off, as we said shortly ago. And now we go back down to Wendy Venturini, who is clearly the most colorful member of our cast, I would say. Wendy?
It looks like when I try and do my makeup in the dark, really. Okay, I'm with Ryan Newman and Lieutenant General Benjamin Frakely joining us here in Richmond. Now, let's talk about your race car first, Ryan, because other than the rain, how is this racetrack going to react for tonight, and how is your race car? How has it been all weekend?
Our U.S. Army Chevrolet was really strong in race trim. Obviously, the track's going to be greener than we practiced yesterday, and we'll just have to see. It's a fun race here at night in the lights with the sparks flying, and starting 10th, I know we can work forward. It's just got to be in the right place at the right time at the end.
Now, you had plenty of sparks flying last week at Talladega. I got a chance to walk through your shop this week with Tony Stewart, saw your race car. First of all, are you feeling okay? Because that was a tough wreck, but it looks like everything did its job in the race car.
Yeah, my race car was fine. I mean, we had the windshield bed folded in about 4 or 5 inches, and my back of my neck was just a little bit sore between Monday afternoon and Tuesday morning, but it wasn't bad. I mean, I saw the G-loads and stuff, and it was a pretty good shot, more so in the wall than when I hit Carl, actually, because Carl was in the air. All I had to do was spin him like a Frisbee, and unfortunately, his car got airborne. That's what started the whole situation as far as him getting up into the catch fence and whatnot. But happy to be able to walk out of it, and glad Carl was safe. And a tough situation for the fans, but happy it was as good as could be.
We are happy that everybody walked away from that. You'll hear more from Tony Stewart on A Real Deal coming up on NASCAR Race Day, but I do want to get to Ryan Newman's guest. The coolest thing about Ryan's sponsor is the U.S. Army, because we get to the honor of having guests such as you join us at a NASCAR race. Is this your first time, and what do you think so far?
No, the first NASCAR race I went to was Daytona last year when Ryan won, but I love it. NASCAR is a great American sport, and we are America's Army, so we like being at NASCAR.
It usually doesn't rain all the time for us at racetracks.
No, it doesn't.
No. So hopefully we'll get this race in. You'll get some action. Maybe Ryan Newman could get to victory lane and make the U.S. Army proud here in Richmond. Johnny?
And Wendy, once again, if you're wondering, this Russell Friedman 400, it was named this race after you, was the contest for Crown Royal. Russell Friedman spent 2 tours of duty in Iraq, and he represents the American fighting public that helps keep us safe, and we salute all of them in the U.S. Army. We got to take a quick break, but when we come back, much more from the Richmond International Raceway. But we also got the Prilosec OTC barbecue shootout going on, and we're also going to talk about that in a little while later, see who is contending for the victory in that shootout. Well, they say you learn something new every day, and if you haven't learned anything new yet today, please be sure to go to speedtv.com and click on our Advanced Auto Parts virtual cutaway car, and we guarantee you will learn something new about these new race cars for NASCAR. Now, contrary to popular belief, the track bar is not where me and Spencer hang out after the show. It's a part of the race car that can be adjusted, and Hermie Sadler joins us now to tell us exactly what the track bar really is and what it can mean to a race car. The pride of Emporia, Virginia, Hermie Sadler.
Well, thank you, JR, and I tell you, the racetrack being green from this rain and racing at night, we will see some adjustments tonight. But look, when your favorite driver comes down pit road, you see these orange circles around guys making adjustments. You always wonder, what are they changing? Well, right here is a wedge adjustment, but right here is a track bar adjustment. I'm going to get under the Advanced Auto Parts cutaway car and show you exactly what the track bar is and how it works. Now, underneath our race car, the track bar basically is to keep the rear end housing under the race car square. Now, on the left side right here, it is actually attached to the rear end housing. These are basically adjusted before the race starts. Cannot adjust this during the course of the race without losing a lot of time. But look at this side. This actually has a adjuster on it. This is what they're adjusting during the course of the race. You can see it now working its way down. We're making a track bar adjustment to lower the track bar on the right side to get more side bite. So we'll see that all night long. And another thing, look right here, the adjustable, this bolt right here has threads. This is a coarse thread. Let me tell you how technical they're getting. They can take this coarse thread bolt out and put a fine thread bolt in, so when the guy's making adjustments, you don't make as much of an adjustment because the threads are fine and you're not moving the track bar down as much. So keep an eye on this tonight. We'll see a lot of adjustments. This is a key component you'll see adjusted tonight here at Richmond, JR.
Hermie, thanks a lot. All part of winning or not winning at Richmond. Thank you, Hermie Sadler, for that Advanced Auto Parts explanation. Now it's time to jump up in the race car and go for a little trip around the Richmond International Raceway. Being a 3/4 mile track, it simply doesn't take that long to get around this place. And all three guys up here on the stage with me today have made many laps around this racetrack. Hermie?
It's a beautiful racetrack. You guys have talked about it. If there is such thing as a perfect racetrack, this is it. But it's a different racetrack. A lot of room going into turn one, but coming off turn two, Spence, very tight.
And Hermie, you alluded on it on the show earlier. It is very narrow coming off of two. Very easy to get in an accident. Turn three, heavy braking part, Kenny, heading on into the front straightaway.
Yeah, and at the front straightaway, you're giving the car a chance to get loose, the rear end spinning out. Right here, this is the hardest part of the corner. Getting in with a lot of speed, real groovy track. The yellow line is the fastest, but you can make up time also on the high side.
And we talked about it, a lot of heavy braking right here, getting into turn three, and also a very tricky part of the track right here, Jimmy. Hard to keep that forward bite off turn four all night long.
Yeah, you see guys spinning out. You wonder, what the heck happened to these guys? And I've been seeing Tony Stewart and some of the other guys just spin out off of four right there. The big thing about Richmond that I like is why we say it's the ultimate short track. You can pass at this racetrack. You can get on the high side and work. You can get on the low side and work. Forward grip is the key, Kenny, though.
And you know what? Watch this, race fans. You're coming up off the corner. I want to show you where you can spin your tires. You can right here. You can be up on top of the start-finish line and light the rear tires up with these high horsepowered cars.
And you know what I like about this racetrack? There's a lot of places we go to that we say qualifying is fun. You can really dig qualifying, but the racing's not as good. This racetrack races better than it qualifies. I mean, the guys are tight in the center, but during the course of the race, they'll move up second groove, third groove. You'll see guys all over this racetrack. They will be a great race tonight, no question about it.
And also the pit road. No problems here on pit road. You got plenty of pit openings, boxes. Come in off of four, exit turn one, no problem.
Don't you ever wonder why they just don't build more tracks like this?
Well, that's what they should have done
on the West Coast. That's a question that a lot of people make.
California being that one.
All right, now we know that therefore this one will be decided on the racetrack tonight amongst the drivers, not with other outside factors. Now, you don't want to bring a knife to a gunfight, and you certainly don't want to come to a short track shootout without the proper tools, as Booty Barker tells us as we get the good stuff with Napa Auto Parts.
Saturday night short track racing at Richmond. I don't know why, but the fights always seem to break out. Now I'm gonna give you the good stuff on the various methods these men use to express themselves. You got Ricky Rudd, for instance. Here, years ago, man hit him in the eye, so he picked up a water bottle and drilled him in the forehead and bled the man. That's a heck of a right arm, Ricky. Then you got Gary Dehart. I hear, but I wasn't there. He picked up an axle and chased the dude. Now you don't want to mess with Gary, he'll kill you. On the other hand, other end of the spectrum, you got Kyle Busch. He took off his Hans device and threw it at a race car. A lot of damage that's gonna do. Also, Robbie Gordon followed suit, pulled off his helmet, which is thousands of dollars, and threw that at a race car. That's just a waste of money. Worst of all, you got Ward Burton. He took off his booties and threw that at the race car. Not the man, the race car. And Ward, whatever you do, never throw your booties. Now you got me, for instance. If you want to cross me, you want to fight me, it's not going to be a fair fight. You got to go through all my boys. And I just want to let you know, you get to me, Kid Quick, a.k.a. the Hit Man. Just want to let you know one thing. I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. Now that's the good stuff.
That's a sick man right there.
I can't believe you spun me
Booty's the
8
man.
years ago.
All right,
Hey,
as these
I like
guys
to smile.
Yeah.
When Booty gets done, gives him
a big old smile.
Yeah, don't mess with me.
Usually it's Kenny Wallace that's singing on this show. Now it's Booty Barker.
There
We're going to
goes
take another
my
quick
old
break here, but we
girlfriend.
want to remind you fans that the Pennzoil Victory Challenge is coming up live on May 16th as part of Speed's special edition of NASCAR Race Day.
Darrell Waltrip as a special invitee in this race. But you know who's an awesome judge? Me. I'm going to judge him. Darrell Waltrip, be careful. I'm a judge.
That's scary. All weekend long, the Prilosec OTC Barbecue Shootout Series has been in full swing. From amateurs to professionals, the competition has been intense. With the help of a few notable judges, the search is on for the winner of the Fan Favorite Award. The categories of chicken, ribs, pork, and brisket were voted on by the fans. Let's go now to Rutledge Wood.
Okay, so if you're coming to Richmond, here's what you need to know about the Prilosec OTC Barbecue Shootout Series. Number 1, free barbecue for you. Number 2, it's right next door to the speed stage. So you just come on over. There are 3 different competitors, all making the best barbecue you've ever tasted. You get in line, you get some of their free barbecue, then you vote on your favorite, and we pick a fan favorite out of all those. Now, the best part of free barbecue doesn't get you, you never know what celebrities you'll see. Like we talked to Richard Childress, we saw Clint Boyer, ooh, and I think Jeff Burton's here. Now, we know you're a Virginia guy. I have to ask, is Virginia really for lovers, or is that just what they say?
Well, I guess that depends on who you are. And the position you happen to be in your life probably matters a lot on that, too. But I've seen some romance in Virginia. Yeah, that's fair. Did
you meet your wife in Virginia?
I did meet my wife in Virginia.
So
I married my wife in Virginia. Had a child in Virginia. Did a lot in Virginia.
So I guess it's true.
It is for me.
That's important. So Jeff, we saw you try some barbecue. What was your favorite?
I like Mike's the best. I don't know why. Every time I've done it, I've liked his the best. So it's just my taste, I guess.
All right, so we saw your car. What shade would you say that car is?
That is purple.
That's purple.
Yeah, I don't know if purple is a shade or is that's a color.
A color, okay.
But it is purple, and the particular shade of purple, I'm not as fluent or understanding the different shade of this purple versus that purple, but it is purple.
Now, you've won in that car before.
Purple people eater, man.
Do you feel like today's the day?
I feel pretty good about today. I feel like we have a decent chance. I feel good about it.
If there's any chance of rain, you want to come back, just cook some barbecue for the fans?
I would rather eat some barbecue with the fans than cook for the fans, but that's typically how I am. I'm not a good cook.
The Prilosec OTC Barbecue Shootout Series supports the NASCAR Foundation. For more on how you can get involved, visit NASCAR.com/foundation. And good news for Jeff Burton. Doesn't look like he's going to be over here eating any barbecue. He's going to be racing on this track. As of right now, it is dry, and we are all fired up for a good old-fashioned Saturday night shootout under the lights at Richmond. Stick with us, everyone. Back with Race Day in a moment.
Smart strategy, hitting your marks, avoiding trouble. It'll get you to the front. And having a legion of fans doesn't hurt either. Oh, we're talking about our man Hermie, of course. Sadler's P1 and ready to drive away. Fantasy picks are straight ahead. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
New Kentucky Grilled Chicken is here, marinated and grilled to perfection for the 5-star fall-off-the-bone taste. Taste the unfried side of KFC. Better than 100,000 strong, the fans are filing into the Richmond International Raceway for race number 106 in the capital of the Commonwealth of Virginia, located just at the side of the James River here in Virginia. It is time for a Saturday night showdown Brian Vickers is on the pole, and Kurt Busch is the new points leader. It's Saturday night short track racing at its best, and we know that this one will be decided at the hands of the drivers on the racetrack when all is said and done here tonight. Let's take a look at the points. Top 15 in the championship standings. Kurt Busch last weekend took over from four-time champion Jeff Gordon, but Gordon is just 5 back, and Jimmy Johnson, great record at this track, is running third.
Yeah, and Denny Hamlin's sitting there in 50th. He's been pretty quiet all year long. Look for him to do well tonight.
The Biff is in the top 10 along with Virginia's Jeff Burton. Clint Boyer there as well. David Ruderman, as of right now, would be in the chase for the Sprint Cup.
And Ryan Newman has made a surge. I mean, look at this. He was like last in the first couple races.
Yep. So it is always good to leave this race as one of the top 12 in points, but it's even better, Wendy Venturini, to leave as the points leader.
It sure is. It's been 151 races, as we've talked about, since Kurt Busch has led the points. Congratulations, Kurt. It's got to feel good to be back on top right now.
It does. It's a great accomplishment for our team, and yet we still have a lot of work to do. But, hey, you know, you have to relish in what you have. This week's been nice to be on top of the points. But, hey, back at a short track this weekend, just got to keep plugging away.
I know earlier in the year when I sat down with you and Pat Tryson, we've talked about how critical everyone was of your team, but you really are turning things around. How can you get to victory lane tonight at Richmond despite all this rain that we have?
Well, we hope we get a chance to race tonight. Our car has been good in practice. We just need to get it out there and see how it does with the group in race trim, because when you're out practicing, it's hard to really gauge. Some guys are quicker than us right now, but hey, pit strategy could come into play.
Now you've come up with a really cool promo for the race fans to raise money for Victory Junction Gang Camp and that indoor arena that you're building for the Kurt Busch Foundation. Tell us a little bit about the SRT-8, that Dodge Challenger you guys are raffling off.
Yeah, it's something to help Dodge as well. I mean, I want to create awareness around Dodge and get everybody excited about this SRT-8 Dodge Challenger. And it's got a special paint scheme from PPG on it. And we had Charlie Hutton come. He's a professional craftsman with the paints, and it's Enviro-based paint, so it's economically friendly. And we're just trying to raffle this thing away at $100 a ticket. It's all you got to do, and go to kurtbusch.com and check it all out.
And race fans, I have to tell you, 5,000 tickets will be sold. My husband saw the advertisement when I was talking about it this morning. We logged on to kurtbusch.com. We bought 2 tickets. My husband did, because he's a huge SRT-8 fan. So Kenny Wallace, take out more than $10, go to kurtbusch.com, and you could have a chance maybe at winning that Dodge Challenger. That would be a nice piece, wouldn't it?
You know what? I took out some money from Michael. Looky here. By God, there you go. Come tell Kurt, come up here to the stage and I give him this.
Kenny Wallace said
I think he's
at the
kinda
stage.
busy.
He's got the $100, Kurt.
I need to get a golf cart. I'll be right there. I can't let that $100.
All right, Wendy,
I love
thanks
it.
a lot. Good job, Kurt, for a great idea on a promo there for the fans to get involved with Dodge. Well, you know, Kurt Busch was involved in one heck of a finish just not too long ago at Darlington Raceway in 2003. Kurt Busch and Ricky Craven waged one of the most epic battles in NASCAR history at the track Too Tough to Tame, with Craven edging Kurt Busch for the closest margin of victory in stock car racing history. The Southern 500 returns next Saturday night under the lights at Darlington Raceway. But as of right now, we are less than an hour away from another Saturday night shootout under the lights at Richmond. We're going to get you down to the driver's intro area in just a moment, but when we come back, we will have our fantasy picks.
Tired of listening to Tweedledee and Tweedledum?
Well, he ain't no good, right?
Yeah, that's right.
We're turning our 2 ace reporters loose on the field for a little race day lightning round. Who falls victim to our mics? Stick around to find out. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Hello, I'm Jeff Hammond. In my RV, my home away from home, making our way from one race to the next, Richmond to Darlington. I want to tell you about another thrilling adventure for y'all to explore along the way. It's my favorite breathtaking shoreline site, Cape Hatteras National Seashore. There are stretches of beautiful white sandy beaches and thick woodlands for everyone in your family to enjoy. Plus, there's some great RV campgrounds right on the beach. To find out more locations and request a free DVD to help plan your next trip, log on to GoRVing.com. See you next time, and I'll tell you another great stop between 2 racing cities as Go RVing's After the Race rolls on.
You know, earlier in the show, Kenny Wallace used the term cyclical, and these things do go in cycles because remember, Wendy Venturini is a two-time champion when it comes to NASCAR Race Day fantasy standings, but right now, the honor of picking first goes to Emporia, Virginia's Hermie Sadler.
Well, thank you, JR. And right there, the number says it all. 88, Dale Earnhardt Jr. got me a second-place finish last week. I think he win tonight, and you guys are in trouble because I've got a plan. I've got some rhyme or reason. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has had a few problems with missing his pit stall a time or two. Look, the Budweiser pit box is right behind him. If he sees that Budweiser sign, he can hang a left and slide right into the 88 pit, baby. We're going to victory lane tonight. Kenny?
Hermie, you know that the Purple People Eater from South Boston, Virginia, not Ward Burton, Jeff Burton. Jeff Burton is going to win the race. Woo!
All right, so now the honor goes to Wendy.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, and I'm making a last-minute pick change. You guys don't even know what I'm doing here. I'm going with Kyle Busch, birthday boy. I think he's got the mojo going on this weekend with the win yesterday. I think he found some stuff when I talked to the 18 crew from Phoenix a couple weeks ago. They've learned a little bit about these flat tracks, and the 18 team is confident for today in Richmond. Johnny?
Well, Wendy, as a native of Virginia, I feel I want to stay with your team, but go with a different driver who happens to hail from Chesterfield, Virginia. You guys are crazy. Denny Hamlin's going to win this thing tonight because 50% of the time he races here, he finishes in the top 5. Tonight, Mr. Spencer, it's a win for the number 11.
It doesn't matter. I want you guys out there to listen to me. Do you know that next Sunday is Mother's Day? So you have all week long to prepare before we get to Darlington next week about Mother's Day, so get ready.
What about your pick, Jimmy?
Oh, my pick. Oh, this guy went from 20th to first in the points in 1 year. This guy is hot. He has three top 10s in the last 4 races. Kurt Busch, 2 car.
Jimmy just said something like that. Okay, so we got the 2 Busch brothers represented,
Kurt
2
Busch.
Joe Gibbs teammates, RCR, and
it.
also Hendrick Motorsports. Only one Hendrick.
You can't beat a Miller Lite.
Hermie Sadler's got the 88. Kenny Wallace got Jeff Burton from South Boston, Virginia. Wendy Venturini has the 18. 11 and 2 are also represented. We shall see in the end who comes out on top because you know what? We reset after 26 races. It's time now.
Oh, that's great to know.
Yeah, you know, it's time now to go for a guy whose driver we didn't pick, and that's Chad Knaus, as he has our Sunoco pit strategy of the week.
Coming into Richmond this weekend, there's only one thing hotter than the driver's temper. That's going to be your brake rotors. That really starts to come into play as you're starting to figure out your pit strategy. You can go about 100 laps on the Sunoco fuel, and maybe just a little bit more if everything's working right, but your tires really don't want to go that distance. As you're running along, your air pressure starts to build up on the right front from all that brake heat. That takes the handling away from the race car. So what a lot of guys will do, because you get a lot of cautions here, maybe every 40, 45 laps, some people will come down pit road, fill up with fuel, and actually take 2 tires when you may want to stay out there if you're the leader and go maybe 90 laps on the fuel run. So it's going to be really tricky as these guys are playing all this out. But one thing is definitely for certain, it's going to be a great race.
Chad, thank you very much for that Sunoco pit strategy. Robbie Gordon, another driver who wants to break through and perhaps be another single car operation to get a win tonight. You better watch out for 4-time champ Jeff Gordon. Richmond Racing is coming up.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. Visit homedepot.com/spring. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Brought to you in part by Go RVing. Visit GoRVing.com for a free DVD. What will you discover? Go RVing. And by the new Kentucky Grilled Chicken. Taste the unfried side of KFC.
Classic race. Classic track.
When you've won at Darlington, you've done it all.
The Southern 500's back in business, and we're leading the charge through the gates. Who tames our favorite lady? Live from Darlington, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
The rain has stopped here in Richmond, and we're less than an hour away from racing at perhaps the world's most perfect racetrack. Let's now go to Hermie Sadler.
Well, we are at driver intros, our favorite part of the show, the lightning round. John Andretti, got a big race tonight, but coming up, you all going to get back in that Indianapolis 500 in a couple weeks.
We are, and going to enjoy it. Obviously, going to take the King with us as well as a co-entrant, and Winter World's going to sponsor the car, and Brian Reinbold's preparing the car. So a lot of great things coming up for me this week.
Now, they tell me you did some skydiving earlier this week. We got some footage of that maybe, but how can running around the racetrack at Richmond compare to skydiving?
Well, I don't know. Right now, I think that we've got a lot of work cut out for us for 400 laps. But the skydiving was really cool. Did a couple forward flips because this is my second time at the Golden Knights, and I want to thank them. But I took Todd Whitworth, the president of Window World, with us, and he doesn't like heights and he doesn't like airplanes. And here I took him up to jump out of an airplane, and he did great. So we had a good time, and like I said, it was my second time with him, and there's no better people to jump with.
That's John Andretti. Wendy?
Well, thank you, Hermie. I'm with Robbie Gordon, who is in the top 35. Good news for Robbie Gordon. What can you do tonight to gain even more points at Richmond, now that we don't have any more rain?
What can we do tonight? I guess finish. We've gone the last 4 weekends, 2 DNFs, and then 2 wrecks have really hurt our points. So we found ourselves sitting here 35th. But we've had good race cars. We run inside the top 15. We just don't seem to finish there at the end of the day, so we got to work on that tonight.
It's getting down to crunch time for that all-star race you're not in. You're going to have to get the fan vote or race your way in. So we're running out of time here, Robbie.
Yeah, we got a couple weeks left. We got this weekend here, and we got obviously Darlington next weekend, which is a good racetrack for us as well. So maybe we'll get it together here tonight, or if not, Darlington, and then maybe we get lucky with the vote. Jim Beam's behind us like they always are, pushing the deal, and we'll see if we can get in there.
All right, it's always exciting to see who the fans are voting for. Hermie?
Well, I got Mark Martin. Last time we were on a kind of a short flat track at Phoenix, you guys had your way with the field. How's your car tonight?
I'm going to have to wait and see in the race. It was pretty good in practice, but I wasn't as sure of it as I was in Phoenix. So Alan and the guys have made a few minor changes today, and hopefully it'll be good. It was fast, but it didn't feel exactly right yet. So we weren't really getting off the corner and getting into the corners like we needed to. Everybody was having trouble with that, though, so we'll see what we got.
I talked to Jimmy Johnson in Phoenix, I guess right after y'all's meeting. He said Mark Martin had that look. What do you look for in a race car? How do you know when it's going to be that good?
I don't know. It's something I can feel, and it's hard to explain, but when it feels right, turns good in the middle, gets off the corner good, has good speed, reacts to, different lines and all that. There's just a feeling. And sometimes you got it, and sometimes you got it and you don't know it till the race gets going. So hopefully this is that case.
And last question about this racetrack. Where's the most important part of this racetrack to be good at?
I think probably getting off of 4 is the most important. You can pass off of 2, but it's probably a little bit bigger window, a little bit more opportunity getting off of 4.
We appreciate you being with us on race day. Wendy?
All right, I'm with Martin Truex Jr. Martin, how is your race car going to be tonight? Because your guys, they were just in the hauler, they were watching the Derby, that's over with. Now we got the real race to run.
The Derby was cool. Our car's been really good all weekend. We unloaded fast, and it's been fast all weekend. So had a good qualifying run, and looking forward to a great race tonight.
And now that the rain's gone, does that affect the racetrack as much anymore? Are you worried about it at all?
It'll be different than it was in practice for probably 40 or 50 laps, but it should come right back around, and it'll take a little longer for that second groove to come in tonight than normal, but I think it'll be just fine.
All right, thanks, Martin. It's a little bit hectic, race fans, because the cars are coming right through here. It's a little bit tighter, and we're on a tight schedule. Hermie?
I got Elliott Sadler, Reed Sorensen, teammates at Richard Petty Motorsports. First of all, to you, because you're taller. How's your car?
I think my car's all right. We actually made a lot of improvements on it from Phoenix a couple weeks ago, so I'm real proud of my guys at the shop for going through the extra effort this week. And we didn't qualify like we wanted to, but the Stanley car actually is pretty decent in race trim. And, it's going to be a little different tonight with the green racetrack and cloud cover and then going into night. But I think we got a pretty decent car, and we think we're pretty adjustable, so we'll see.
Yeah, Reed, a new paint scheme for you in Saturday night short track racing, like we all love doing. How's your car?
It's pretty good. We got McCafe on the car this weekend with McDonald's, and Elliot and I actually had pretty similar cars in race trim, so hopefully they're both a little bit better and we can improve our starting position a little bit. But I think we got okay cars. We just need to work on them a little bit better, and we're getting there. We're getting better, and as long as we stay out of trouble now, I think we can have a decent finish.
Teammates looking for good runs. Wendy?
We should call this the Virginia segment from the Sadler brothers to over here, Denny Hamlin. Denny, how bad do you want to win in front of your hometown crowd tonight?
Pretty bad. I think everyone knows that, but I can't get the other 42 guys to always cooperate with me when it comes to that. But our FedEx ground car was really good in practice. We obviously qualified better than what we usually do, so I'm pretty optimistic that we need to race at night, though. We've kind of set up for the night, so hopefully we get this thing in.
All right, good luck to Denny Hamlin. Hermie?
Well, Greg Biff have been on quite a roll in the Nationwide Series. I know you'd like to maybe make that translated over to a win here tonight in the Cup Series.
Yeah, I really do. You know, we weren't quite where we needed to be in practice. I know we switched some things around on the 3M Ford Fusion car, but, you know, this weather, we don't know what's going to affect. We weren't that good when it was hot and sunny, so maybe this cooler, grippier track will be what we need.
How do you know that? I mean, you practice in the daytime, and we've had rain on top of that. How do you know where to start?
I got my fingers crossed. I don't know. You know, those guys know where to start, but normally the track just picks up grip, total grip, and, you know, that's what we were lacking. So long as our car comes around a little bit more than all these other guys, we might be in good shape.
Well, I know one thing, more grip means better racing here at Richmond. Wendy?
Talk about the drivers getting together here. Clint Boyer, AJ Allmendinger, Scott Speed, Jamie McMurray, Jeff Burton. Let's talk to AJ Allmendinger. AJ, I know you're very animated right now. How animated are you going to be in that race car?
I'm going to try to calm down. They say I get too animated, so we're going to try to calm down. We got the PVA on the car at the King's Cup, so try to get on put on a good show. We were 3 weeks bad. We're going to put on a good show this weekend.
All right, thanks to your wife. She helped out with some chiropractic problems with my husband. Let's head over to Johnny.
Wendy, thanks a lot. Now, normally this is the time of the show where we tell you to tune to your local Fox affiliate for race coverage, but there is baseball right now on Fox that's run a little bit long, so you can see the Fox race broadcast coverage right here on Speed. We make it easy. You don't even have to grab your remote. We want to remind you that we have live Supercross a little bit later on tonight on Speed, but as of right now, you can keep it right here for Fox's race coverage. Want to say a special thanks to all the fans here at Richmond who braved the rain and came out. They're in for a good show tonight at quite possibly the world's perfect racetrack. We'll see you in Victory Lane.